push both of them.
We're live.
Hey, from Lisbon, Portugal.
So I remember a so-called financial advisor once told me that I would have to work until I was 70 years old. And while I was still working, my husband would still have to be, while he was supposedly retired, right? What was you going to be doing? Taking care of my dad.
I wouldn't mind taking care of your dad.
But that was the future that this man saw for us. That was the future that he saw for us. We walked out of that meeting without a better plan, y'all. But we knew we were not going to accept his plan.
Oh, hell no.
Nah.
So how do you start over after 50? Reimagine retirement when the future you were handed no longer works for you. That's the question we're going to answer today.
That's right. Today, we are retired. We own 2 properties. We live in Europe. We travel the world. And we built a net worth of more than 1.1 million in just under 5 years after starting with a negative net worth in our 50s. Okay? So we're going to get started. Hey, y'all. My name is Elise.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to Our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel and life abroad and building more options.
Yeah. So if you're trying to create more freedom, more purpose, and more options after 50, please subscribe. Smash that like button. More than once, hit it twice.
So that you know every single time that we drop a new video or go live.
Oh, yeah. Because YouTube ain't going to do nothing.
They don't be sharing
unless you help us out here.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Let's start with this. When you were younger, what did you think retirement would look like? Did you picture yourself staying in the same house, traveling occasionally, buying an RV? Moving somewhere warm, helping with the grandchildren, working until you could not work anymore. What did you imagine when you were younger? Or did you avoid thinking about retirement altogether? Let us know in the chat. And if you're, hey, Gwen and Derek, and if you are watching from the future, we hope the future is lovely. If you're watching from LinkedIn and Substack, let us know in the comments. Did you avoid thinking about retirement altogether? That's what we want to know. And that's what we want to know.
So put it in the chat. What was the best retirement you once thought was possible for you?
What was the best retirement you thought was possible for you?
Yeah.
Because for us, we will tell you our story in a minute, but it has changed. And if your picture, has changed, how has it changed? How has it changed? All right, we're going to say hello to the folks who are in the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Hit that like button on your way in. Hey, Allison. So if you are not a member of the channel, if not, why not? Right, Allison? We were hanging out an hour before we go live every single Sunday back behind the scenes, backstage, hanging out in our private Zoom chat, right? Hey, Valerie, good to see you. Looking forward to this. Demetrius is in the house. Hey there. Cheryl is in the house. Hello, 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 Dr. Nash. And we've got Rapper MD is in the house, Sarah, and we've got Gwen and Derek. We missed you behind the scenes today, Gwen and Derek. You were missed.
Yeah, you truly were.
You were missed. Hey, Bobby. Bobby was behind the scenes. Hey, Bobby was behind the scenes. Shanora, we missed you behind the scenes. Bonita, you came late. See how I be telling everybody business. We be telling everybody business. Angie by Designs, good to see you. Good to see you. Tarika, Tari and Nika and Nikki. That's, yeah, okay. It looked weird. It looked like it was all one word, you guys. I'm sorry. It didn't it? It didn't? Okay, maybe I need to clean my glasses. All right, you guys. I want to see what you are saying. What kind of retirement did you imagine? Angie says working. I couldn't imagine not having anything to do. I later decided I would travel and be a nomad. Right? Because if you are slow traveling, that means every month to 3 months to 6 months, you are relearning everything. Everything. That is good exercise for the brain. It really, really
It's
is,
great
you guys.
exercise for the brain.
Right? That is great exercise for the brain. All right. How did you think you would retire? What are you guys talking about? Okay. We're gonna tell you our story. We're gonna tell you our story, and then we want to hear what you were saying. Because after that meeting that we had with the financial planner, and some of y'all who have been around for a while, you guys have heard this story.
But we're going to repeat it.
We're going to repeat it. And because there's every single time we repeat it, there's more insight because we know more now, right? Projection is not a prophecy. He projected a future that he saw for us. We refused to accept that. Okay. So projection is not a prophecy.
No.
Right. So
we had that discussion. I remember. We had this big meeting with this financial, whatever you want to call him.
Well, he called himself a financial advisor.
Yeah.
He really was a glorified insurance salesman. But he did get all of our financial information.
Got our information.
And then came with
some suggestions and he came with a plan, so to speak.
Yeah. And a projection. He had our financials all on the board and stuff and was showing basically what our life would look like at the current rate and with the current money that we had saved.
And let me tell y'all something. And I was so depressed after I left that meeting.
Yeah.
It was like, Lord have mercy. Somebody get me a rope.
I wasn't depressed. Because I was like, and I was really surprised. I was surprised because I knew good and doggone well that Rick was not going to stay home and take care of my father every day. That just was not going to happen.
I drag him to the lake.
Go fishing.
Go fishing.
Well, yeah, you guys could hang out, but that's one thing. But taking care, that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
so that's one thing. And the other thing is that he did not think about, I left there saying, well, that's assuming that we never make any more money than we do now, that we never start saving, that we don't save any more than we're saving now at a higher rate, that we don't change anything. So if we didn't change anything, then yeah, the scenario would have been the scenario and I would have had to work until I was 70. And when he retired, he would have been at home, bored, taking care of my dad.
Oh, no, Joe was an interesting guy.
When he first, and he was still kind of with it. Yeah. That wouldn't have been bad, but it was rough near the end, y'all. It was really rough, right? So his whole projection was based upon who we were in that moment.
At that time, yes.
Not who we could become. So what future has someone else assumed you would have? What future, right? That like totally negated your potential, your dreams, et cetera, et cetera. Because I know parents do that kind of nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Parents do it a lot.
Parents do that kind of nonsense. Rapper and D says, retirement, I thought in my teens was to get an RV and see all of the U.S.
See, we'd have passed you on the road.
Exactly. Then as a young adult, buy a sailboat, yacht, and travel the world. Oof, that would have been scary on a yacht. I'd have been scared. But traveling,
fun.
I get seasick.
Well, yeah, take a pill.
Take a pill. Those boats, I would have to be on a pretty big boat to go across the Atlantic. Those boats don't seem big enough for me.
The Pacific would scare me more.
Okay, well, maybe. Either one. I don't really, I haven't, no. Anyway, though I always thought I would end up overseas somewhere, I did not factor my financial situation so much. Now I am strongly considering my finances. Yeah, we got to, right, Roxanne? It's interesting. Well, we'll get to it. We will get to it because we were talking about this all weekend long, and we were talking about our early days and how we were just coasting. We were just coasting.
Mm-hmm.
The checks were coming in. The money was going out.
We was comfortable.
We were saving 3% or whatever, It was just, it was, when I look back, we didn't have no plan.
No, we didn't.
And we would have ended up without a pot to piss in. That's how that would have gone down. That is how that would have gone down.
So he kind of does us a favor by helping us wake up. He woke us up.
He woke us up. He woke us up, right? He woke us up. Oh, you had a Zoom with your youngest son. Oh,
that's awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay. I'm not seeing, do I see anything else for my retirement? I imagined van life and spending as much time in Canada and Mexico as I could. I'm like, when I was a kid, I had never even heard of van life. I had never even heard of it. So, oh, Shanora, you guys were there? Okay. Kimmy says, my plan was to retire to the Caribbean for tropical climate and ocean. I realized as a Black family would never find freedom and happiness here in the U.S. It's true. And that's why, I got this crazy, I might do a short on this crazy back and forth I've had with she's not a follower. She just happened across one of our videos and decided it was up to her to alert all of you that we are agents.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Of some nefarious system and cabal that is trying to get Black folks to leave their ancestral land of America and all that their ancestors fought for. And I asked her, I said, why would you try to get somebody to stay in an abusive relationship? Because that's what you were doing. I mean, so you get the wife. The wife said, well, I put down the down payment on this house. So, okay, well, somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to go. But what I'm not doing is going to stay in the situation and continue getting slapped.
No.
Right? Folks, we do not have to stay in the United States and continue with the gaslighting abusive relationship. We don't have to do that. One moment they're talking about, I love you. The next moment they're slapping us and talking about Black people this and brown people that.
Letting us know where we don't belong.
And letting us know where we don't belong, right? And then the next moment they're saying, well, I love you. It's just that you just make me so angry when you ask for equality. Y'all, stop playing in our faces. Stop playing in our faces. And any Black person who is trying to convince you to stay in America, I really question whether they love themselves. Like, you don't know me. I'm not going to try to convince you to leave if you've got a reason to stay.
Right.
So why are you trying to convince me to stay in an abusive relationship, right? Allison says, I always knew that I would travel. I'm a Rolling Stone. Look, I didn't always know jack squat about retirement. I always hoped. I always wanted. But see, you can hope and want all you want without a plan. That's just a dream. Becoming a nightmare is what that is. And we had zero plan. That's why when we started this journey, we were negative $22,000. That was our net worth, negative $22,000. Okay. That, yeah. So I don't know that we had that. Well, we might've had that much debt, not including the houses and stuff like that. I guess we did. I don't know what we had. I don't remember. I just know we paid off our debt. I remember that. Hi, I'm new here. Hey, Nancy, good to see you. All right. We're going to keep it moving. I think I got everybody in. Rapper MD is going to start joining us behind the scenes. Can't wait. Right. I always want to travel the U.S. like my daddy wanted to do. However, I have since raised my expectations. Yeah. My dad, thankfully, left in the United States to travel often, at least every other year in my adulthood. And I'm glad that I got to see that. Dr. Nash says in PS, I plan to do more when I retire, hope to retire within 8 to 10 years, but I will continue my passion work. And so that's the thing, right? We bifurcate our life as a before and after. And I would posit that perhaps we should start looking at things differently, especially for those of you who are close to 50 on either side, because we still have our health, right? And so if you've had a major health issue, you probably should start thinking about retiring. And if you can't financially, then you need to start planning financially, because what you don't want is to retire at 70 and you start traveling and this and that, and you can't walk up these Lisbon hills, and you've got the money, but you don't have the stamina. And then you've got more health issues, right? Because see, had you probably have more health issues if you work until 70 than you would had you retired at like 57. And then when you get to 70, you probably would have less, because you'd have less stress all of that time if you do it right? So yeah, guys, I don't know. Dr. Nash, I want you to retire faster than 10 years. You need to call us. You need to call us. You need to call. Look, Action VJ is not here right now. He would tell you we are the busiest retired people he knows. So, I will continue my passion work, etc. Right? You can do that, but it should be an option.
Right.
It should be an option. We do what we want to do on our schedule, and we decide when we don't want to do it. Right? And so that's what we want for everyone. That's what we want for everyone. Retirement plan was nonprofit work and travel the USA, now travel the world, leisure and luxury, prioritizing spa life. Okay, CK. So when you get back here, we're going to have to do a girl spa day. We're going to have to do a girl spa day. We have some cool spas here. Okay, let's keep it moving. All right. So the first thing is, when you're restarting your life, projection is not a prophecy. Do not be accepting other people's assumptions and projections onto your life. Yeah. Number 2.
You can't imagine what you've never seen.
Right. Like, I did not even know that normal people could retire early. I didn't know that was a thing. So if you don't know something exists, why would you do a search on it? It just never even occurred to me that was a possibility, unless you got a big deal, got one of those contracts, because we come from the entertainment industry, or something like that. Shy of that, you mean you just 401k saved your way to early retirement? Really? You can do that? I had no idea. I had no idea in 2019 that I could open up an investment account, a private brokerage account at Fidelity. I thought we could only invest through our 401k unless we walked in with a big check, which we could have walked in with a big check, but I'd have been scared to take half of our savings and walk it with it, right? I didn't know. Right? So you can't search for something that you don't even know is a thing, right? And that's why being in community is so important, right? It's so important. Had we not been exposed to what we were exposed to, there is no way that we would be sitting here right now. And we were just talking behind the scenes about the reunion and all the cool stuff we're having for our next 2 meetups. So our winter reunion is during New Year's week. We're going to do 29th, 30th, and 31st. Yes. And then, of course, Juneteenth week for the summer reunion. I'm excited. And everybody who was behind the scenes, they were excited too. But here's the thing. Being in community And even with the side hustle challenge cohort, we saw this yesterday too,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
All these brains on one, focused on one thing. I'm telling you, magic happens. Magic happens.
Yes, it does.
Had I even been in a community that of other aspiring expats, I would have learned about FIRE, financial independence, retire early. I would have learned about it. But I wasn't even in that. I wasn't even doing that. I didn't even know that was a thing. You mean there's this whole world of Black expats out there and they're in community and they've got all these Facebook groups and threads and then this and that and the other and meetup groups and all this? Really? That's a thing? Y'all. Until you see something, right? So we started out, our whole journey was just about getting out of debt because that's all we knew, right? We saw the Susie Orman stuff and who's that other guy, the Dave Ramsey dude, right? And Rich Dad, Poor Dad and all that. And it was, the first thing was always get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt. After that meeting, we went home. I downloaded 3 months worth of our credit card statements, our bank statements, and everything, because I didn't know about other online tools in those days. And I right. And using Excel, right, I mixed and matched and sorted and this and that and figured out how much money we were spending on stuff we had no business spending money on. Like y'all know, $1,000 a month, $900 to $1,000 a month, just eating out back in 2016, 2017, and 2018. We didn't have it like that. We did not have it like that.
We was acting like
we were acting, right? We were not acting our wage.
Definitely acting like it was.
We were not acting our wage.
I mean, it was, hey, it's okay. We can pay the minimums on credit cards, and we got nice vehicles, and we go to work every day, so we got checks coming in.
That's right. That's right. We had absolutely no plan whatsoever. No plan. And didn't know what was possible. And we weren't making minimum payments. Don't be telling them people that. We was paying at least $10 to $20 more than the minimum.
Okay, a couple of times I paid minimum.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say that.
Oops.
I got to be honest.
So look, that's how we were rolling in those days. And so our dream, y'all know our dream, we were going to buy that RV, right? And we were going to make documentaries. My dad had written a book. And so we were going to take some of the teachings of that book and basically travel around the United States making documentaries.
I mean, we started kind of that journey with him because we actually sat down and interviewed him.
That's
for
right.
What? Oh, for almost hours of interview about the book and have him explain everything about it. And that was the start.
That was the start. So it's not like we weren't taking actions. We had no plan. And first COVID was a trip because we lost and gained so much.
Yes.
During that, right? A lot of lives were lost, loved ones were lost. Pieces of my dad's mind were lost because of the lack of stimulation. But one thing that it gave Rick and myself is a different way to view things. And when he got furloughed and he was down there in his man cave, it wasn't a man cave until he got furloughed. So he and he discovered Our Rich Journey. Wow. Because see, during the pandemic, I was studying Spanish because we were moving to Spain or we were moving to Mexico.
We were going to Barcelona.
We were going to Colombia or someplace like that. That's what we were do. That's what we were going to do.
That's true.
And he was downstairs in his man cave, doing his searching and doing whatever he was doing, and stumbled upon Our Rich Journey. I think it took me 3 months to watch them. I was not interested in Portugal.
I kept telling her, you need to check these young folks out.
I'm learning Spanish. I'm learning Spanish.
And I said, and there's Black people in Portugal.
Yes, yeah, he did say that. This Black couple with these kids, have you seen it? Da, 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 da. And I was like, no. Then something came across my feed, and it was one of their videos comparing Spain to Portugal. Now I have a reason to watch because we moving to Spain, y'all. I don't know how. We didn't know about no visa process. We didn't have no financial plan. No. But we moving to Spain. And the action that I took was I started learning Spanish. So, you know, baby steps. You got to do what you can do when you can do it. So when I saw that video and they were taking some objective factors, compare not like feel good vibes and all of that, talking about the tax scheme, talking about years to citizenship, talking about cost of living, et cetera, et cetera. And they were doing that comparison. That's when I was like, huh. So I then went on Google Maps and walked around Portugal, not vicariously, but virtually, right? And I started walking down the streets of Lisbon, and I realized that I could read the signs. And I was like, oh, Portuguese is not that, even though it sounds so different, it's not that different from Spanish in writing. So I was like, oh, we could consider Portugal because I can keep learning my Spanish. And I figured that would help me with my Portuguese, which it has. So the thing was, I watched every single playlist about Portugal and I was avoiding those financial videos like the plague, y'all. I don't want to hear it. We were getting out of debt. We were one stimulus check away from getting out of debt. Okay. I started working with my stepmother around investing. So I now knew that you could open up an account at Fidelity and Schwab. And she was teaching me about fractional shares. You ain't got to walk in with all this money. You can, I got $5 today. I'll put $5 down tomorrow, another $5 the next day. And you can do it like that. I never knew. And so I'm learning this. I don't need that stinking financial video.
Yeah. And while I was in my man cave, I was even watching CNBC.
Yeah, he was, because we were starting to invest and things like that. Right now that we had gotten rid of the majority of our debt, like I said, that first melon felon stimulus check, that was it. That was it of our debt. Then somehow, I don't know what the title was or what the thumbnail said, but I watched one of their videos and I found out about financial independence, retire early. Fire. You cannot imagine something that you haven't seen. And now, he told me that they retired early, but okay, so what? Did they have, somebody get some contract or something like that? They have these 6-figure jobs. When I found out they never had 6-figure jobs and they worked they had government jobs, I was like, well, wait a minute.
Right.
Wait one doggone minute, because I had no idea. Now, we were much older than they. I had no idea how we were going to retire. Just no idea whatsoever. So I'm just glad we found it, right? So I want to ask y'all, what possibility did you guys discover later in life? Because when we figured that out, I almost started crying. I really did. Because all I had was hope. I hoped that we could do something that would generate enough money to play catch up. Yeah. And I didn't know that we could do it ourselves with what we had. Y'all. It was humbling. And for some folks, like I'm just going to be honest, I have a feeling that part of it was my ego, not my ego. I was afraid to learn, if I watched the videos, to learn that one, I missed out on something.
Right.
And that two, we were too late.
That's the big thing. I'm too late.
Right.
That's
I think like in hindsight, right? It's either like 5 years, 6 years later, I can step back and look and say, okay, Halisa, you probably should have been in some therapy around that. You probably should have been in some therapy.
but
All right.
that holds so many people back. That thought, that one thing in their mind that I'm too late, I can't do this. I'm too old, I can't do this. My
Right.
friend just texted me today and I said, how are you guys doing? He said, oh, we're fine, just getting old. And it's like, dude, no, you're aging and
I'm
you
getting,
are refining.
that's right. I get better with time, baby.
Yeah.
Don't be,
It's
don't,
like,
don't be
no,
putting that
don't put
nonsense
that
on
on
me.
you. Don't put that on you.
And he shouldn't put it on himself, right? We have this conversation all of the time. I'm marking your guys's questions and comments here. Allison says, I started planning better when I had my daughter. I started making sure that I was putting money into my 401k, but 3% never was a good idea. It never was a good idea. And guess what, folks? Back in the day when 401ks first came around, I remember back in those days, NBC and stuff, they were giving a 10% match. A 10% match back in the, that's what they used to do. See? And they still act like folks are asking for so much, right? So much. Never too late to learn and prosper. No, it's never too late. It's never too late. I completed the Dave Ramsey plan for debt freedom. However, I had to figure out the next stage of wealth building. Yeah, no course existed at the time. Everything was about debt freedom. Yeah. Exactly. And then what? Because I think the first like blog posts and stuff like that were out there regarding FIRE started in about somewhere between 2008 and 2010. I've met a couple of Black people who found the FIRE movement back in those days, and they've been retired. Yeah, they were out here in these international streets bopping around. Rhonda says, when I was growing up, I thought normal retirement age was 40 to 50 years old. I wish. Oh my gosh, imagine my shock when at 18 I realized that probably was not going to happen. Oh my gosh, it did, but not how I thought it would. I mean, yeah, it can be 40 for people who are in the military, for people who work for the government, for government jobs. Yeah, they can do it. Well, actually, anybody can do it if you set your mind to it. But that automatic pension thing, no. That was never a thing since I've been an adult. I'm definitely open to learning from our community. Yeah, there is no way that we could have done this alone. Yeah, we could have, but it would not have been as smooth, nor would it have been as fun. And I'm not sure if we would have been as successful. It would have been very, very frustrating.
Oh yeah.
But being in community, and not just like we are in community with Black folks who have immigrated and some who are just bopping around all over the world. So not just here in Portugal, because some things are true universally, and some things you just know after you've been gone for a long time. You have to be gone for a while for some things to become a reality. So community is so important. And we will be opening up our private community tomorrow, August 3rd. We will be opening up our private community, and we're going to start phasing out Facebook. They're fascist. During COVID, I found Stephanie Perry, and when I found you guys, that's when I put the plan into motion, right? We found Stephanie during COVID, and our lives just changed during COVID.
As terrible as COVID was,
right?
It was a true wake-up call.
It was a wake-up call.
A lot of people up.
Because also we started looking at more ways that we could make money online. Our side hustle, we've always had a side hustle, our whole relationship. but it's always required us to be in person somewhere. We never considered
right.
what an online side hustle would look like. And COVID made us do that. And so once we started looking, we were like, wait a minute, I had a whole DNC convention online.
Yeah.
Right? So wait a minute. Well, what else can we do? And knowing that and knowing and seeing the possibilities, you guys, but knowing that we couldn't do it right then because we were not yet financially able. Oh, Lord, have mercy. It was tough. It was tough. And so I was watching videos 24/7 in my spare time. I just remember you were traveling and Rick was traveling. I was outside in the backyard. We had a fire pit back there. It was a little chilly, getting chilly at night, even though it was summer. I had my feet there. I had the fire on, and I don't know if it was my iPad or what. I'm just boo-hooing because I just don't want to be in America anymore. I don't want to be working that job and dealing with those people anymore. Ugh, especially the volunteers and the Bernie bros. I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it. So I was so thankful when I found what I call the CDMX crew. That's Adelia Borshade, of Picky Girl Travels the World, Rashida Dow, and Stephanie Perry. Because I found them after Rick found ORJ, right? And so in my mind, I'm adding up that fire number the way they do it, and the math ain't mathing. And it's like, we're going to need a few more years for this to work out. And then when I started looking at people who either didn't plan well or figured other ways out, and I was like, wait a minute, you live where for how much? You're doing what? And healthcare costs what? A lot more became possible. A lot more became possible. And I realized that it was easier to do fire with the cash flow method than it was the traditional method, especially if you're starting late. And especially in those days, because interest rates were still low for real estate, right? So you could get a $700,000, you could get $1 million asset, and we're going to talk about that, and only put $30,000 down. And now you've got $700,000 worth of equity or whatever have you, right? So yeah, the possibilities that you can discover later in life for being in community. I'm new to the community. Hey, sci-fi fan, welcome. And just turned 45 and I'm ready to retire. I know, and have a lot of interests I'd like to pursue. That's great. That is great. And so if you need help, get the Ready to Retire toolkit. That's in the description below. It's free. Get the ready. Start there and start seeing where's the gap. What's the gap between work being optional and work being mandated? It could be $10,000 for all you know, right? Just 10,000 little dollars. I couldn't determine how to occupy my time if I had retired early. Oh, Lord, CK, we could have helped you with that, my love. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? I remember Amon doing that video because he did a video. He said he gets that question all the time. What do you do
with your time?
With your time? What do you do all day? And he basically, what he said is, any damn thing I please. And here's the thing, like here in Portugal, there's not a lot of processed food. And so for me to have what I want, I can't just buy stuff and doctor it up like you can in the States. I have to cook from scratch a lot. So so things take more time. So you need more time. So in the video, he said time to make lunch, and we laugh, but how many people, do you squeeze it in on Sundays? Do you wake up early to try to make lunch for work, or do you just buy it, right? And here, like if salad dressing, they have like 7 salad dressings. That's it. That's it. If you want something else, I'm mashing up avocado and bringing out the food processor and the oils and the vinegars and all of the things, huh?
Oh yeah.
That's what you have to do. You have, slow down, take the time just to have lunch. And it's nice to be able to do that. It's nice to know that there's not a bunch of crap in my food because I made it. I made it from scratch, right? My own Thousand Island dressing and stuff like that. Yep. The other thing that he was talking about is spending time with friends and family. After I have to go to the doctor every Friday for them to check on my leg. After that, we hung out with Alex and Jerry because we could.
Yeah, we did.
Because we could, right? So after my doctor's appointment, we just went over to, one of our favorite restaurants, across the way, and we sat there until we didn't feel like sitting there anymore. And that's another good thing about life outside the United States. They don't be trying to run you off, right? Here's your tit. I need to burn and turn this table, right? They don't care. We could have sat there until they closed and not even ordered anything more than we had already ordered. And they would have been fine with that.
Oh yeah.
And they won't bring the check until you ask, right? And so, yeah, just hanging out with friends, just talking and talking, right? Planning and talking because we can. Yeah, and sometimes it's just time to read a book because reading before was my therapy. It was, because everything, there's always an email, always a this to check, right? And so reading a book was like, it felt like a privilege. I can read a book anytime I want, and I can just sit there. I can take a nap anytime I want. OBU, what's the second passport we're working on? I think we got the residents down pat. I know, right? Okay. I had been avoiding a Mexican passport because of some of the things that Adelia said that I'm not sure I care about anymore at this stage. So for us, we would qualify for, if we do what we're supposed to do, we would qualify for Mexican citizenship in 2 years. We have heard from some Portuguese people that we should not give up hope yet for the 5 years here, for the people who are already in the system. They believe that there's some machinations working in the courts and stuff like that are going to make them have to grandfather people in. So stay tuned. The other passport, y'all, that's pretty interesting is Uruguay.
Yeah.
Okay. We forget about Uruguay, and we haven't lately because we've been talking about Uruguay even before our utopian friends got their residency there. We were talking about Uruguay. Right. The only, because I've got a friend who lives there, but the only reason is because it's so far down south. But that might be the place to be if the fit hits the sham, is all the way down south, right? Away from, the nonsense. Away from the nonsense, Now, obviously, if they get real crazy, it doesn't matter where you are. But so I think I've heard great things about Uruguay. I'm hearing a lot more. And I think if Uruguay is on the list, I think you do it now. Because I feel like Uruguay is going to be one of the next Portugals. And so they're going to start tightening up. And if it wasn't for this leg, we probably would have been trying to do that this year. So hopefully we can try to do that next year. So that's what we're working on. What y'all working on? What other passports and residencies y'all working on?
Someone's like, what's in your wallet?
What the hell? Stay in the United States and continue being abused, right? Mama didn't raise no fool. You guys, I don't know what's with these people. I don't know the brainwashing that has gone on to make a Black person, any person of color, but especially a Black person, want defend what is going down in the United States and say, no, I'm gonna stay and fight. Fight for what? What are you fighting for? And I bet you if I asked, they could not say. Now, I mean, to go back to normal, what are you fighting for? Because I would say that the majority has already proven that there will be no equality without struggle. Okay. There's not. There's just not. The Gallup did a poll back in the 1960s, and back then only 20% of white folks agreed and liked Martin Luther King. You would never know that to hear them today, right? And in 1969, only 40% of white folks said that they would be willing to, at some point in their life, vote for a Black man for president. Not a Black woman, but a Black man for president. That was 1969. In 2008, 40 years later, 40% of white folks voted for the Black man. Nothing has changed. In 1969, the gap between Black wealth and white wealth is the same as it is today. It might be even worse today. So what are we fighting for? And whom are we fighting? And with whom are we fighting? Because nothing can be done alone. And half of these people, I bet you dollars to donuts, are not in community. And the only way that we are going to do this thing is in community, regardless of whether you stay or go. We have to be in community. We have to be looking out for each other. That's what we've always done. Okay. And that's what we're going to have to continue to do. So Benita says, unfortunately, we didn't plan sufficiently. We didn't plan sufficiently either.
No, we didn't.
We didn't. And which is why we say we have Coast FI. FI stands for financial independence. And for those of you who are newer, Coast means that you don't necessarily have to save anymore, but you need to bring in a little income for the splurges and things like that. And or it could mean you have to bring in some little income for survival. I can't live that way. I can't live that way. So this is for, the extras are for the splurges. All right. That trauma we deal with on a daily basis ages our bodies. That's what I'm saying, people. Yeah, and so this notion that we should work for 40 to 50 years, that is definitely 100% capitalism. And I love Rich and Regular. Y'all know Rich and Regular. They're friends of Our Black Utopia. Their notion is 15 years. Your career should not be any longer than 15 years, max. That's it. That's all they deserve. After that, you work for yourself, do a side hustle, you retire. 15 years. And you let somebody else come in. And I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Hey, Big C from Uptown. Thank you for the super chat or super sticker. 100% of our donations goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. Right now, we are getting ready for Beyond the Bling 3.0. And so anybody who is on the waiting list will be let into Beyond the Bling 3.0. If you need a scholarship, just send us an email. So thank you. Yes, we appreciate it. And our community appreciates you as well. I think not. Angie says, I think not. Doesn't Yahweh tell us to come out amongst those people? Right?
They not like us at all.
Well, the Bible does say that. And, a lot of those people who get in our comments talking about I'm not going anywhere are also staunch Christians in the traditional white baby Jesus type, right? And so the word does say, right? I don't know about these people. Hey there, I am
Kiosha.
Kiosha. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Welcome to Our Black Utopia. Thank you for becoming a member. We
Thank
hang
you.
out behind the scenes an hour before we go live. And that's every single Sunday, not on Thursdays. Every other Thursday, we let the legends co-host with us. So thank you and welcome.
Which we missed last Thursday.
We did miss last Thursday. We did miss, but we had so much to cover on Thursday. I knew it was going to be difficult. So I didn't forget. I just kind of, sorry, y'all. Next time. All right. Point number 3. Starting over requires becoming a beginner again. And we've kind of been talking about this, right? Like when my stepmother asked, Halisi, are you investing? She's my stepmother. I got a little bit up in my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. I got into that I pay my bills on time type of thing, right? Like I'm grown, what are you asking me? And I was so naive. Remember, I told you I did not know. And so I said, of course, through our 401ks, whoop-de-whoop. And she's like, no, over and above that. I said, you mean because I have seen the commercials and I worked for a venture capital firm, for crying out loud, that created the technology or spent the money to create the technology for Easy Trade. And I was like, I said Easy Trade. And she's like, well, yeah, that's one place you could do it. And I said, no. And so again, already found Christina Naman. First thing I do, I get off the phone with her. I open up an account at Easy Trade, buy $500 worth of a total stock market index fund. I had no idea what I was doing, but Christina Naman said index funds, and I was not yet ready for individual equities, which is what my stepmother was teaching me. And so that's what I did. I didn't know. I did not know. And so I told her that I had opened up the account, and then she started telling me about a full service brokerage firm, and that's what you want and why, and and Schwab and Fidelity, and how it used to be back in the day, and how hard it was, and how accessible it is today, and I mean, we had to start over and become beginners again when we moved here. We did not even know how to work the dishwasher. I had to teach the housekeeper how to use the dishwasher. She didn't figure it out.
Really?
Yeah. And she could speak Portuguese. Right? Learning FIRE, like index investing and all of that stuff. The other thing that my stepmother did was she introduced me, and this is why I keep mentioning it, because the information and the education that you get from this nonprofit is invaluable. It's called betterinvesting.org. And I keep saying it's like $100 and something per year for the membership, but I don't think so, because I think I think it's a lot less than that, y'all. But it's worth it. If you want to start investing in individual stock and you want to do it, the buy and hold, not day trading, day trading. I don't understand that. That's work. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. Better investing.
They teach you how to.
Yeah.
They
Join Beyond the
teach
Bling.
you how to.
They teach you how to invest.
And they have the tools to show you to practice investing.
Exactly.
What you need to do.
Exactly. And without spending money, you can do it. So this is what we talk about in Beyond the Bling. We talk about all of this stuff. We show you how to use the tools. We talk about what we're finding, what we're investing in, and all that stuff. We meet, the Beyond the Bling crew meets every second Saturday. So we're meeting this Saturday, y'all. All right. It's coming Saturday. Anybody who's in Beyond the Bling. So, but letting go, if you want to do this retirement thing and it's time for you to start reimagining, one of the things is being willing to not know, being willing to become a beginner again, right? And admit how much we just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, this was huge. This is huge. Some of you guys have heard this, but it's so pathetic, but I've got to repeat it. So we're talking about trying to retire. This is that, and the other, what we knew and what we didn't know, right? Now, y'all know I have a cousin who lives in the Midwest, who is a real estate investor, as well as a person who buys and sells gold. And he owns a store there in Indianapolis, Indiana, that buys and sells gold. And he owns a lot of real estate. And so he has owned a lot of real estate. Well, he's owned real estate since his late 20s. And I know the story. I know how he started. He went to junior college, community college, and that's it. Okay. So we're not talking about having to have a PhD to do this thing. And I knew all of this. I knew that I did not need any more education than I already had because I watched my cousin do it. Do you know, I watched him build millions and millions and millions of dollars, and I never, ever asked him for advice or how. Because I assumed that I already knew that we couldn't do what he did. See, his dad came in for half the money. And my dad spent my my trust fund. Okay. So I figured that there was just no way that we could do it. I didn't even ask. I didn't even explore. During COVID, we did. Right? And so if you want this reimagining takes some humility, and we have to start challenging our assumptions. All right. And that's hard for someone who thinks she knows every damn thing. Okay. I was totally incorrect. Totally incorrect. So we learned from another friend around the same time as I was talking to my cousin about real estate investing. We learned from another friend of Rick's who he had been saying, we need to talk. How many times did you say, y'all?
We need to sit down and have a meeting with Johnny. We need to sit down and talk to Johnny.
Yeah, and you need to call your cousin. You need to call your cousin. And I didn't want to call my cousin because I didn't want to be embarrassed that he was going to say, well, you need to have an 850 credit score, do you? No, mine's only 770. Well, that's not good enough. Too bad. I had created all of these barriers. And I didn't want to look stupid and be embarrassed and call my little cousin, my younger cousin, and ask for help. Pitiful. Pitiful. So finally, when you get desperate enough, you let all that crap go and you start asking folks for help. Right? And so we went to this
He had a little
seminar, right? Johnny had a little seminar.
Yeah.
And because he's a real estate broker and or mortgage broker, we learned that if you buy a piece of property, a residential piece of property, and your mom and dad, mom or dad, and I think even your kids, a kid lives in it, you can get an FHA loan, even if you don't plan to live in it. Ding. Because now, see, I'm trying to figure out one of the things about my retirement is what am I going to do with my dad? So now I'm like, hey, we can buy like a fourplex or something, or duplex or triplex or something in LA, move my mom and dad into a bigger place, hire someone to take care of them, rent out, buy the condo back from my mom, save it actually, and rent that out. And then we have, 3 other units in the multifamily home, right? And yes, you can buy a fourplex with an FHA loan. And if your parents are living in just one of the units, you can get that FHA loan.
And we found the fourplex.
Yes, we did. It was only $1 million. $1 million. And it was a fourplex, all 2-bedroom apartments. Yeah, I think it was all 2-bedroom apartments. And my mom she wasn't cooperating. She wouldn't do it. She did not want to do it. We would only have had to come up with $30,000. That's all we would. And it was, and all were leased except for one. It was perfect. It was perfect. She would not cooperate. She would not go look at it. Oh, if I move, it's just going to kill me and all this nonsense. And I'm like, woman, we are subsidizing your lifestyle. What are you talking about? What? She's like, what lifestyle? I'm like, the fact that you eat at Denny's every day is a lifestyle. Everybody can't afford to do that, even though it is just Denny's. So finally, we ended up not buying it. And this woman, yes, my mommy, we go driving down the street, going to Costco. And it's like, oh, this is the same street the fourplex is on. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
We showed it to her. She's like, ooh, baby, that's nice. Can we still buy it? Can we still buy it? Like, we were like 15 days away from coming to Portugal. I'm like, Mommy, that ship has sailed. Okay. That ship has sailed. That money has been reallocated. Reallocated. But yeah, the fact is that could have been an income stream. Had she cooperated, we would have had a totally different scenario, because we would have had 3 apartments creating that income stream. And I know, because I know that neighborhood, and that's another thing that made me comfortable. I grew up in that neighborhood. I know that neighborhood. I know the kind of rents you can get. I know the kind of people. Great neighborhood, Black upper middle class, Ladera Heights, CK. Y'all know. Right across the street from Ladera Heights Park. Honey. Gloria was not cooperating. So what have you allowed yourself to become a beginner at 50 or after 50, right? I started learning Spanish after 50. I started learning Portuguese after 50. And you guys, okay, I'm proud. I got to say it. Can I say it? Okay. So I have my Portuguese lesson. I have Portuguese every Thursday. And she had me listen to some audio and then write down what I believed they were talking about. It was level B1. And I got the basics. I got the basics. So I just didn't know who was talking to who. Listened to it a second time, figured that out with some context clues. I was pretty proud of myself. So what have you become a beginner at after 50? Let's go all the way down. Please, if you are enjoying this conversation, you know what to do. Hit that like. We can't see it. I don't know. I know that we have had over 200 for a while now. And so hopefully we have over 200 likes. I'm a beginner learning at Portuguese and investing, right? This is what keeps our brain cells working, creates new synapses, okay? This is what we need to be doing. It's not just the physical, right? It's not just the physical. What else? Okay. What lessons should folks have learned from the 2008 crisis when debt living led to destitution? Everyone can see who's skinny dipping when the tide goes out. Yet debt living is a way of life. So one of our major takeaways from the Great Recession, 2 major takeaways, y'all. Okay. 1, Rick and I made a conscious decision to buy a lot less house than we could afford.
Yes.
That was a conscious decision. And so, back in the days, they were like, it should be about a third of your income, 33%. Well, we decided under 20%. And so our mortgage was never more than 18 or 19% of our income. So when one of us got laid off, and we did, we never missed a beat. And so we were very fortunate. We bought a house that had been empty for a while. We negotiated, so we got it under market value at the time. That's another thing that we did. He had painted it all, the inside, all kind of crazy colors. So what?
It's paint.
That's lipstick and rouge. But apparently it was turning people off, because that house sat on the market for about 10 months in a prime Denver neighborhood. And it was an oversized lot. It's still our home, one of our homes. Oversized lot, right? And so, yeah, that's one of the things that we did right. And one of the lessons that we learned. CK believes that that you get the biggest lessons from your losses. And I want to learn just as much from my wins. Now, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying I'm making a conscious decision to try to learn as much from our wins. So we did learn that. And we were never really upside down. We watched as a lot of folks who bought more house than they could afford
lose
their house, right? A lot of folks who did the not reverse mortgage, but the adjustable, yes, subprime, but the adjustable rate mortgages and the balloons and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, we saw a lot of people lose their house. People across the street from us lost their house. We were never at its worst. We were never more than $1,000. I'm about to say euro, $1,000 underwater. Okay. Because we were never late, we never qualified for any of Obama's stuff, unfortunately. And I wasn't going to wreck our credit to get it. So it was like, we will refi when we can refi. And it's just going to be what it's going to be. The other takeaway is that what goes down will come back up. Okay. And so that Great Recession was global, and just like the Great Depression, and it was forecasted, but hard heads and soft behinds, right? It could have been avoided. Nevertheless, one of the things that we did right is that we didn't get out of the stock market. My auntie, when the fit hit the sham, she panicked. She was retiring at the time, but still she panicked. She doesn't understand how the stock market works. She didn't understand how money works. And she listened to her financial advisor, and what her financial advisor said upset her, because her financial advisor told her the right thing, but said it in a way that upset her. She said, so my aunt goes in, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? And the lady said, we're gonna let it ride. And that sounds like gambling. Those were the wrong words to say to somebody who's all worried and paranoid. The stock market is not a gamble, y'all. It is not. There is science to it, okay? And there is science to what makes a good company, right? And so this is one of the things I learned from the $2,000 crisis, right? And so one of the things that we did right is that we left our money in and we watched it go down. Thankfully, now, okay, we did this right on accident because I knew that I did not know what to do with it. And because I didn't know, I let it ride. And that was the right thing to do. That was the right thing to do. So we kept all of our money in the stock market that we had in the stock market, and we continued to add to it when we could. And I'm going to tell you, by the time Obama was in like month 9, I had lost 50% of the value in my 401k. So I understand why my aunt was panicking. I understand. But I see, even I understood a little bit more than she did when it comes to that. I knew that the stock market always comes back up. So, and I didn't know what to do with the money anyhow. And I knew that it was in 401k, I could get penalized. I don't know what to move it. So I just left it alone. By the time Obama got inaugurated, the second term, it had doubled. I had recouped and it had doubled. That at its lowest point, it was $7,000. Over the years, I have probably added another 7,500. And today it's well over 6 figures. And all I added was an additional 7,500 from 2012 to 2022. 21. Yeah. Okay. Did we learn about debt during that time? Hell no. We were living that life. We had just gotten back from South Africa. What did I do? Put it on the card. Put it on the card. What you doing? Put it on the card and and then take out a student loan to pay off the car. That's how I rolled. I'm telling all the dirt. Okay. I'm telling all the dirt. So I had, yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. But I had to go to South Africa in order to graduate from my graduate program. So that's how I was able to get the financial aid loan, because it was part of tuition and all of that stuff. All right, I'm looking to see what you guys are talking about. I'm a beginner, but I love learning. And that's another thing for those folks who want to move abroad. Okay, baby. You have been in our comments for a while now.
Terrence, yeah.
I need you to show up behind the scenes, Terrence. Okay, so you need to look in the YouTube posts, and we post. I didn't do it today, I don't think, but you can go back to the old ones and get the link to our private Zoom. Okay, where you can ask questions. So 401, just like we talked about on Thursday, 401k is not an investment, right? What's in the 401k is what is the investment. And so we gave you guys the instructions on Thursday. We gave you the instructions on Thursday. But I think, Terrence, you need to join Beyond the Bling. I think that's what we need. But start with the Ready to Retire Toolkit. Come join us behind the scenes. Ask some questions. Okay, because bottom line, 2025, Rick and I had a 21.7% return on investment, something like that. I rounded up to 22% return on investment in our account, even with all of the tariff nonsense and the gas price and all the other nonsense. And if you remember back during the Great Recession, you remember Occupy Wall Street, right? You remember Wall Street recovered before Main Street recovered. Remember that. Wall Street recovered, mainstream didn't. That was all Main Street didn't. That was the rhetoric. Remember? Okay. So we can't be afraid of the stock market. We need to understand it. And Terrence, you need to join us in Beyond the Bling.
Yes.
I want you to have the same results that we have. Okay. And so for all of you who are watching, what we are reading in Beyond the Bling is the book Take Stock, STOCK. You probably can find it at your library because it's not in print anymore. Or you can find a used copy at, an online bookseller. Yokota says, hey, Yokota, I realized during COVID, I want to be a polyglot, right? Me too. I've been learning several languages ever since: Portuguese, Spanish, French, Chinese, Arabic, Dutch. Oh my God. Tamazight, don't know what that is. Sherbo, Tem, don't know where they speak that, and Choctaw. Okay. You are a lot more adventurous and than I am. If I could leave and at least speak the 4 Romance languages, I would be happy. If I could learn those before I leave, I would be okay. I would be okay. I don't know about adding in a non-Romance language, right? Arabic and languages that are in different characters. Everywhere we go, though, I try to learn how to say I love you. So that's my thing. That's how I gather languages, by learning how to say I love you in a lot of different languages. And don't ask me to say. Oh my gosh. I remember the kids in South Africa. Hey, Rashida. I remember the kids in South Africa. Look, y'all, I have a colonized tongue. And they were trying to teach me in Xhosa how to say I love you.
No,
Xhosa. How to say I love you. They were laughing at me. Oh my gosh. I was like, look, my tongue is colonized. Don't be laughing at me. Teach me. I'm learning about investing. I purchased the book you suggested to Take Stock. Good. Right? This is what we have to do. I'm a beginner in Spanish and how to retire early the right way. Yes. I'm also a beginner at learning how to do a YouTube channel.
Oh.
There you go. All right. You go. Okay. If you are in our side hustle challenge, those of you who want to come on the channel and tell everybody about your side hustle, start thinking about that. Start thinking about that now. So yes, thank you, Yakota. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would when she showed me that it was level B1, my arm stretched from patting myself on the back. She was proud of me too. I have the best Portuguese tutor. So if you need a Portuguese tutor, hit us up and I will give you her contact information. Okay? Because I don't play. I've had our Spanish tutor on here. I've been with her for 5 years. And she is amazing and set a very high bar. Very high bar. So I've been going through people. When I found Chi, I was like, I think I found my Portuguese Laura. She's Angolan, so she's Black, native Portuguese speaker, of course. And the thing is, if you are going to learn Portuguese, learn from an Angolan. They just speak more clearly, and you will hear the cutoff sounds in the street, and you'll get it. You'll start to hear it. But it's nice to learn with someone who speaks really clearly, and they don't pronounce things the same. They pronounce the whole word. So it's lovely. She is excellent. What? Dog and traders? We don't want to work. Ailey, we're trying not to work that hard. We saw you at the meetup. We were enjoying sangria, and you were over there to the side with your computer, and you were.
Does she have her monitor out?
She didn't have a monitor. She didn't have her monitor out there too. We ain't about that life. We are not about that life. It's stimulating, and I don't have to work a job again. Yes. Look, I'm not dogging day trading. I am dogging work. I'm dogging working that hard. That's what I'm dogging, working that hard. I just don't want to work that hard. But yeah, I'd rather do that than go show up at somebody else's job. That's for doggone sure. Because if I'm going to work hard, I want to work hard for me, not making anybody else look good, putting money in anybody else's pockets or anything else. So number 4, because we can talk all day. Small decisions can change your entire trajectory, right? Like watching that one video comparing Portugal to Spain changed everything. And I wonder, I'm sure we still would have found Rashida, Stephanie, and Adelia, because we found them like a month or 2 later, but it might have taken longer, because I don't know how the algorithm works. I don't know, right? Learning about that FHA situation started making us, consider things more creatively and not just say, well, Dave Ramsey said that, when you retire, and here was my dream, and here I am 50, and I only got this, and so, oh well, boop, boop, ba-doo.
I mean, sometimes
that noise.
Sometimes you got to be creative and just change your thinking habits, change the way you do things.
Exactly, right? Our dream was to buy a Winnebago, and I said, yes, that brand, Winnebago, tour. It probably wasn't going to be no Winnebago, but that's what was in my brain, okay? We're going to tour around the United States making documentaries. And instead, we moved to Portugal, and instead of making documentaries, we're doing YouTube. And instead of touring around the United States, we tour the world. Little bitty steps can change everything. Everything, right?
But nothing changes until you change your thinking.
Exactly. I think the thing is, what we don't realize is when we start making these small decisions and start learning more, it compounds. It's like compound interest, right? It's not like you're going to learn incrementally and it's only going to be it starts compounding and on top of itself. You know what I mean? And so after a while, not only does life get so much easier, making money gets easier, like everything gets easier. Seriously. I'm telling you, and I say this to the side hustle challenge people all the time. Making money is easy. Creating income streams is easy. It really is. It really is. Because if we can do it, y'all, my son was trying to do YouTube. Is that Dennis? My son was trying to do YouTube back in 2011, 2012, 2013. He still ain't on YouTube, but his 60-year-old plus mom, right, is on YouTube. I told him if he doesn't hit record, if he just doesn't hit record, right?
Hey, Dennis.
Dennis says, I think that Black folks are brainwashed too and think the U.S. has the best of everything. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, yeah. Indeed. They don't trust foreign food. They always say you'll leave and be right back. I'm like, yeah, watch me. Watch me. It's been 4 years, you guys. We have been gone officially for 4 years solid. We have been paying rent in this apartment more than 4 years. If given a choice, I'm not going back. And I remember we talked about this too, but I remember when the first time we went to Spain and we saw that meat hanging in the window, right? Talking about foreign food.
Right.
Rick and I looked at that meat. I ain't eating that meat. What in the hell?
In the air, and it's been hanging there. And,
right?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, no. But we decided to be beginners, right? And we did a food tour, and we learned what the ham was, and it's very expensive and all this and that and yada yada. And so we grew. But anyway, thank you, Dennis, for the super chat. Thank you. You all know every single penny donated goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. And if you need a scholarship, just send us an email, put scholarship in the subject line. We have not opened 3.0 yet, but when we do, you'll be on the waiting list. And we don't need a diatribe or any of that. If you ask for it, we assume you need it. You're a utopian. You have integrity. So we ain't worried about all that, right? You ain't got to go through all that. All right. What small decision have you made that later changed the direction of your whole life? Right? What small decision? I bought the condo in LA back in 1993, 94. And basically gave it to my mom. She was making payments. I had made the down payment, and it stayed in my name. The whole entire time. Then she started taking out seconds and all of this stuff. Next thing I know, she's like, I need to do a reverse mortgage. I'm like, Mom, do not do that. Do not do that. She didn't listen. She did not listen. She did the reverse mortgage and almost lost the house. My stepmother, who was teaching me about investing, she said, Halisi, you guys save that condo. Save it. And that's what we did. And that small decision now, that decision is what put our net worth over 1.1 million. That small decision of that condo in the heart of LA, in one of the most desirable neighborhoods in LA, is going to create an income stream that could feed generations. Because it is ridiculous that our 1-bedroom condo in LA is worth more than our 4-bedroom house in Denver. LA, right? So what small decisions have you made that later changed the direction of your life? That small decision to watch that video of Christina and Aman. Mm-hmm. That small decision meant that just a month ago, we spoke at Our Rich Journeys conference. And we spoke about how to retire when you start late, when you're late bloomers like we are, right? And there were people in the audience. Now, you know, they're the generation under us. And so young enough to be Rick's kids, not quite mine, but unless I was a teen mom. So most of the people there were younger. So we weren't sure that there was going to be anybody interested in what we were talking about. I was a little concerned about that.
Not really.
You know, we were in 365 Days of Fire. We've been to the meetups. We know the general age of the people at the meetups. And yes, they were generally younger. But we were shocked, right? That one small decision to watch that video meant that we were in a position 4 years later to be a blessing to all of these other people who also thought that this life was no longer attainable.
Right.
So this one man was in tears. He was in tears because he just didn't see how it was going to happen until he heard what we had to say. And the light bulb went on and he was like, oh my God, you mean I don't need a cajillion dillion dollars like Susie Orman says? No, you don't, baby. You don't. And we just showed you how. And then they saw the house sitting, and we could travel sometimes for a huge discount and take care of people's pets.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The one decision to watch that video and the ripple effect goes, right? All right, what are you guys talking about? Let's see. All the way down to the bottom. Oh, watching Rashida this morning to get the details on Panama. I know, right? Right? Okay. I wrote my retirement plan. See, a lot of things happened during COVID, you guys. Excuse me. We got our stuff together during COVID. And that, you know, I told you guys we were saving 65% of our income. 65% of our income those last 3 years. 65% of our income. And I think we're going to do a video on how we did that. If you guys, if you want to know how we were able to go, you know, from spending $1,000, right? $1,000 a month on eating out to saving 65% of our income when neither one of us was making six figures and saving for this move here, let us know. And we'll do that. Let us know. Okay, I'm going to mark some of these. Yeah, a lot of things changed during COVID. Thank you, Blue Marvel, for the Super Chatter Super Sticker. Again, it goes to our scholarship fund. So everybody in the community, show Blue Marvel some love. Show Blue Marvel some love. All right. If I were listening to these people here, retire at 70 and be miserable, you guys, right? Just miserable. Going to grad school changed the trajectory of my life. Yeah, it changed the trajectory of my life too, CK. And, you know, it's interesting. And that was not a small decision though. That was a big decision because money, and I had to pass that damn test. But I remember my dad saying that you will start to remember your life. I went to Babson, which is known for entrepreneurship for graduate school. And he said, you will start thinking of your life as before and after Babson. And he's right, because, you know, one of the things about grad schools, it too changes the way you think. Getting into debt, writing out my retirement plan and putting it into motion without talking about it. So, you know, why not talk about it? I know, look, I understand. And I remember grandma used to say, you know, don't be telling everybody your business and all of this and that. And it's true because everyone does not have your best interest at heart. But I do believe that we have probably missed the boat and should really be trusting community more than we are and sharing, right? And this goes for some family members too, because not because we need their approval, no, but because they might want to follow you. They might want to follow you. So we gave everyone in our family an opportunity to get on the bandwagon with us. And they decided that they were too busy to get rich. That's what they decided. Am I lying?
No, not at all.
A food tour. This is one of the things that we do in new cities. We do a food tour. We did a food tour in Phuket. And like we said, there's some of the places that they take you to, you might not have been brave enough to go on your own.
Yeah.
Now, see, but now that I know, it's like, oh, okay. So now I know what to look for.
That's the joint.
That's the joint. Oh my gosh. You can discover amazing food. Taking money out of your 401k changed the trajectory of your life in a bad way or a good way? Because there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. This is one of the things when we're talking about what would you do with your day. And I said, living here in Portugal, you have to slow down. There's not as much processed food and things like that. Butchers. I never grew up. Well, I take that back. When I was really, really small, my mom would go to the butcher, which was next door to the grocery store. The grocery store had a butcher in it too, because it was a supermarket, but she would go to the butcher next door. Living here in Portugal, butchers are every other block, right?
Everywhere.
And fishmongers every 2 blocks. And of course, we have like farmers markets, and these are permanent farmers markets. Okay. They are permanent buildings, and they're called mercados, and all of the, the butchers, the farmers and everything, they bring their goods to that place, and they're open every single day, Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And every single parish has one. So when I could walk, I can walk again, you guys, I can walk. Anyway, from here to there, but when I'm walking again and walking all the way down the hill and stuff like that, we have lovely, lovely, lovely fishmongers and butchers and organic. All the stuff is organic that comes in there and inexpensive. But here's the thing. You can't get everything all the time. So, people come here and say, this is not that much cheaper. If you go to the restaurants that are kind of like chain restaurants where you can get a perfect avocado toast year round, you're going to pay a premium because avocados aren't in season all year long. And so to get that means they're importing them. And to have that on the menu, that means they're importing them. So they have to average that cost, right? The mom and pops don't play that way. Some things just leave the menu for the season.
Right.
And so they can keep costs down. Our favorite place, we get our chicken dinner for €6.50, y'all. €6.50. The butchers, you can get lovely, lovely big pieces of meat like this for like €15, right? They'll cut as much fat off of it or leave it on that you want. Oh, you want it with the bone? Okay, let me take this piece over here. How thick you want it? You guys, there is a better life outside of the United States. All that corporatized crap, and you see, and now the food is poison. It's poison. We have not had a recall on food since we've lived here. Recalls were like commonplace when we were in the States. They were so common, I didn't even really pay attention. Oh, do we have that? Let me look at my cans. There's not been a recall.
No.
Because if there were, it'd be in the expat groups because we're all in these large, large groups. And somebody will hear from someplace and then it gets in the group and then everybody knows. No recall. It's time to go, y'all. This is what they're doing. They're like, look, we want AI to take your job in about 10 years. So we just going to start killing y'all off now. Okay. Because we're not getting taxed no more to give you guys no guaranteed income or nothing like that. So we just going to have to kill you guys off. United States is insane. They are insane. That food is insane. Portugal would be a great country to move to, but waiting 10 years to become a citizen is a deal breaker. It's common, but I understand. And I wouldn't be surprised if they make immigrating to Portugal even more difficult. Yeah, I do too. And that's why we tell people not to wait. But here's the thing. The people who are doing this, Shega, they are not in the majority. They are not in the majority. And we know enough Portuguese people now to know that just like in America, they're not paying attention enough and stuff like that. Right. So from a sentiment point of view, we are not feeling the angst. We see the racism against the Southeast Asians. It is very obvious. It is very obvious. Of course, we don't get it. Africans are not on the bottom of the food chain. And so regardless of whether they think we're African, once they learn we're American, we have the passport privilege and all of that. But yeah, we're pissed. We're pissed about it. And it might not stand. Now, again, Spain, France, Italy are all 10 years. I think Greece may still be 7 years.
Yeah, I think they're still low.
I think they still may be 7 years.
Lower.
Yeah. And for folks coming from Lusophone countries or the former colonies, right, they get 7 years. So it's everyone else who is 10 years. And so I don't know if that's going to stand for us. We're still hoping. Our understanding from our Portuguese friends is there's some court actions going on. But again, that's for us because we've been here for 4 years. But yeah, I mean, there's not. I want you guys to be clear. Getting citizenship in another country is not easy. It is not easy and should not be assumed. You cannot get citizenship in most countries. You would not qualify. They would not let you qualify. Okay. So I know that 10 years, especially with what's going on in America, feels ouchy. That's why you might want to consider Uruguay. You could also consider Mexico. Mexico, your coming and going in Mexico, I believe, gets tighter when you're a resident. I mean, when you are a citizen, than when you are a resident, but it's 5 years. So, technically, if we do what we need to do in 2 years, we qualify for citizenship in Mexico. But again, we're looking at Uruguay. And that's still 5 years. And it has a stable government and economy. So we're looking at Uruguay. But, the problem is, here's the problem, French Spanish. We love living here. And see, they know it. They know it.
They do. We got that fixed.
Oh my God. I was listening to Stephanie yesterday and she was talking about the racism in Italy. And so the last time we went, we met Adelia over there in Rome and we didn't feel any racism, but we know it's there. And we were talking to this African dude and he was talking about the racism. So we know it's there and we've seen the anti-Blackness a little bit. I would never want to live there. But it's not like people coming up to you, taking pictures, trying to touch your hair and stuff like that.
But a lot of people do like to live there.
Yeah, there's Black folks living there. I wouldn't want to live there, but I love visiting. Right? But here, it shows up. It looks different. The relationship that they had and their history and what they've had to go through has just created different folks. And I think it is evident in the fact, if we think about history class back in high school, we really didn't hear about Portugal. We knew what was going on. Like when we think about World War I and World War II, Portugal was never mentioned, was it? Who are our allies? Well, Portugal was part of the ally, but they were never mentioned. And so I think with that comes some humility, right? That Italy doesn't have, because they still have Milan and fashion scene and yachts and all of this stuff, right? France certainly doesn't have any humility. They're still acting like Africa is still their colony, their former colonies. So they don't have any humility. So that's the thing about Portugal. It's tough, y'all. It's tough. It is tough when you love, and we have friends here who are family. And that's the other thing, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. Um, we've traveled with these folks. We plan trips with them. I mean, we've got it would be hard. It would be hard. I'm eating less variety because so much of the food now makes me sick. You guys, what are you doing about the food? How are you getting your fruits and, well, Adelia's not in the chat, but everybody else, how are you getting your fruits and vegetables? Allison says she doesn't mind waiting the 10 years. It goes by fast. Look, I'm telling you, this 4 years, it feels like 2.5, doesn't it? Until you start thinking about the meetups, then you realize. But other than that, it feels like 2.5 years. It's like, yeah, it's flying by. It's flying by.
It truly is.
And now we're looking for a place to move. So that's going to take up a lot of time. I'm not sure. So this next year is going to fly by, because we're going to be moving. I want to move into an unfurnished place. So, I'm going to need help. You guys, I'm not good at design. I'm not, but I like a pretty place. I'm curious about Uruguay and Paraguay. I've heard some bad things about Paraguay. Check out what was going on during the World Cup and the racism. I might be getting it mixed up. I know I'm not getting it mixed up with Uruguay, but I might be getting Paraguay mixed up with some other place, and not Argentina. Nope. So triple check, and then do your Googles. Okay. But I've got friends in Uruguay, so I can vouch for that, and friends who are Black presenting. So I can vouch for, at least not extreme racism. Racism is global, y'all. We know that. So we're not going to pretend like it's not. We're not going to pretend like it's not. Canned and frozen. So none of this stuff got into the canned goods. None of this stuff got into the frozen goods. Is that what I'm hearing? Because we're paying attention, but look, I'm only paying attention just enough. But I would think a lot of times, a lot of these farms also send their goods to those packaging places. So that's what I'd be. Where's all this food going? If you're planning to live in a country permanently, waiting 10 years for citizenship isn't an issue. The question is, do you want to stay permanently? That part too. And again, if you held a gun to my throat today and said, stay or go, I'd say stay. Because this does really feel like home now. It feels like home. I appreciate the culture. I like the language. I like the food. I appreciate Portuguese food now.
Except for the fish.
Well, I don't like anybody's fish though. So that's a fish thing. That's not a Portuguese thing. Uruguay is very European. And yeah. And maybe that's why it be showing up on people's lists, right? Yeah, we are still in Lisbon, and the plan is to stay in Lisbon. All right, Allison, it might be we might not find a place until you are already here and stuff. So Ailey's been eating fruits and vegetables, and she's just been fine. Okay. I had gastrointestinal issue for the past 3 weeks. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. You guys, I call my son, him and vegetables, they have an interesting relationship. As he's now a grown ass adult, he knows he needs to eat them. So he's like, yeah, I'm just going through the stuff in the freezer. I'm like, the stuff from 3 years ago? What you, I don't know. I'm just talking best. I don't know what's in his freezer anyway. Look, here's the thing. If you look at our life from RV and traveling around the United States to YouTube and traveling around the world, our dream grew. Allow your dream to grow. Allow your dream to grow, right? I mean, excuse me, I have to say, I could not dream any bigger in 2009. We could not dream any bigger. We might have included Canada and Mexico in on the RV trip, but it probably wouldn't have dreamt any bigger than that. And the thing about it is like, you know, we could come and go from Mexico and Canada with our passports and stuff, no problem. And like, you know, no visa situations per se, etc. So we could not dream any bigger than that. Those one small decisions, right? That willingness to be willing to reimagine. Now we have, you know, permanent residency in Mexico, residency in temporary residency here in Portugal, where, you know, we've already been renewed. That's how long we've been here, right? We own 2 pieces of property living in Portugal, you know, got to go. We've seen Thailand. I've only dreamt. We got to see Thailand and Singapore and South Africa and Colombia and Curacao and Panama and more. I mean, all of the schooling, all of the wanting to do this job and this career and that career was just to have this life. I didn't want to do those things just to do those things. I wanted to do those things to make the money to live this life. And one of our prophets, Stephanie Perry.
She's a prophet now.
That woman is so brilliant. She just says things that are just like profound. She needs to write a book of these things. But she said, when she was talking to somebody, and I have started to say the same thing, because we give situations, jobs, things a lot more power than they deserve, right? And so it seems to me that somebody was talking about getting another certificate or another degree or something like that, so she'd get this job and to do this and do that. And so, you know, or she was talking to somebody who was afraid to quit because they didn't know who they would be if they couldn't say, hi, I'm Halisi and I'm an attorney, I'm a judge, I'm a this, I'm a that, right? I am. How are you? Not I do, but I am, right? And so she said, what else can you do? First of all, analyze the feeling that you get from whatever it is that you are aspiring to do or think that you want. What else will give you that same feeling? So that made me realize the thing was never to be a superstar or to get that contract. It was only to get the contract to live this life, because this is the feeling that I wanted. It wasn't whatever I thought that thing over there was. That was just to get over here. But we spend so much time thinking, I want to become a this or a that. But we always know we want to have fun. And we only want to do those things to make the money to have fun. And so what else can you do that will give you that same feeling, right? And that is true too with shopping, right? Mm-hmm. Right? The same feeling that I got from buying a new pair of shoes at Nordstrom's, I got from buying a share of stock. No joke. No lie. Right? If you stop worrying about the how for just a moment, what would you allow yourself to imagine next? Because see, we could not figure out how. And we just stopped trying. And thankfully, the YouTube gods put folks in front of our pathway to help us start thinking about things differently. And we hope that you have started thinking about things differently. Right?
So how do you start over at after 50 and reimagine a retirement that actually works for you?
Right? Not nonsense. You begin by understanding that starting over does not mean erasing the life that you've already lived, guys, all right? It doesn't mean that. Every decision you make was not wrong. Every decision that we made was not wrong. And it does not mean that you are not returning to the starting line empty-handed. Starting over, we did not start over from scratch, thank God. We did not have to start over from scratch, but we started over in our thinking. That's what we're talking about, right? We didn't start over empty-handed. So you're bringing everything with you. You're bringing the lessons. You're bringing the scars, the skills, the relationships, the discernment, the resilience.
The things that worked and the things that finally taught you what does not work.
That's right. Okay, CK. Starting over after 50 is not starting from nothing.
It's starting from experience.
Exactly.
And you don't need to know the entire plan before you begin, because we didn't.
We did not. We did not.
No.
We did not. And it's funny because we were in the Side Hustle Challenge, right? And we've got a utopian who has been with us from the very beginning, when we had like 300 or 400 subscribers, y'all. And so she called us a week ago or so. And I said, why aren't you in the challenge? And she's like, well, I'm like, Tracy, come, you should be in the challenge. I know you're getting the emails. And so she showed up yesterday. And you remember what she said. And she was like, oh my God. I got to tell, she was going to say, she's just got to tell her wife. I got to tell my wife, this is so much richer than it was before. Of course, because we only knew what we knew then 4 years ago. And now we know what we know now and in between, right? And this is how it is. And another brilliant thing that Stephanie says, practice in public, right? We practiced in public and it's okay. And you can do it too, right? Sometimes you just begin with a question.
Sometimes you begin with disappointment.
Yeah, like, like you're going to be taking care of my dad for the rest of your life. Sometimes you begin with defiance, like, he don't know how much money I'm going to make in the future. Why he trying to box me in? I was pissed. And sometimes you begin because something inside of you says, this cannot be all there is. This cannot be all there is. That voice may not have the answer yet, but it may be telling you that it's time for you to be searching for one.
So that so-called financial advisor saw her working for until she was 70.
Yeah.
He saw me spending, my later years being a caregiver to my father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
He built our future around the income, spending, and knowledge that at that moment he couldn't calculate the people we would decide to become.
Right.
He couldn't calculate that.
Mm-mm. He was basing it on what we had at that moment.
Yeah.
We left that room without a better plan, but we left knowing one thing: we were not going to accept his plan. And that was all we needed to begin.
So your life may not become easier simply because you reimagine it, because, it becomes yours.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Big C from Uptown. Canceling affirmative action in DEI, firing 300,000 plus Black women, voting no to the Ghanaian proclamation about the transatlantic slave trade was the most heinous atrocity in human history because it wasn't illegal. That ain't nothing but a word, right? That's it. We just talked about that. We just talked about the fact that the United States, Argentina, and Israel, and Bibi Netanyahu, right? They're in bad company. United States is in bad company. You're in company with people who do genocides, America. You did a genocide, didn't you, America? Right? You're in bed with people who do modern day genocides, who are doing genocides today. You're in bed with a country who wants to try and act like Black people never existed in their country. You're in bed with people who are erasing their own history. That's who America is aligned with. And so when I see Black folks in our chat talking about we are agents of somebody and why are we trying to get Black folks to flee, to run away, I'm not trying to get anybody to run away. I'm trying to get you out of harm's way. That's what we are trying to do, because you are in harm's way. You are living in a country that has lethal racism. That has racism that can kill you, take you out. You aren't here to fight another day. And they have shown you time and time and time again over the past 50, 100, 200, 300, 1,000 years. They're not going to change. They're not going to change. They haven't changed since the 100s. They didn't change in the 13 and 14 and 1500s when they were dying. And the Black folks and the Jewish folks were trying to tell them how to stop dying, right? They didn't change in the 18 and 1900s, 1700s when they came to Americas, and those natives had to tell them how to not to die. And they're not going to change now. What are you fighting for? You cannot change somebody else. That's a them problem. They have to figure that out. The only thing we have control over is ourselves, our thoughts, how we react to those thoughts, and the things that we do. And sometimes we ain't got control over that. So why are you trying to control how other people are going to treat us is beyond me. But I tell you one thing. I like to live where I am treated well. I want to live where I can find peace and freedom, where I can go sit my behind down at the park and play Candy Crush all damn day if I want, and nobody's going to come ask me, what am I doing in this neighborhood? Why am I sitting here? Am I casing the joint? Do I look suspicious? Or any of that other bullshit nonsense.
True, true.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, you know. Oh, our email address is hello@ourblackutopia.com. And it's in the description below. And it's on our website, ourblackutopia.com. All right. You may look, if you want to imagine your life, and I want you to imagine your life, you may have to learn something new. You all right with that? You may have to change. You may have to grieve, right? You may have to grieve some lost time, some lost opportunities. You may have to release an identity that once kept you safe and may have kept you enslaved. And you may have to become a beginner again, but you're not too old to become someone you have never been before. Starting over after 50 is not an admission that your life has failed. It's an announcement that the next story is not finished and the next chapter is beginning.
If this conversation stirred something in you, don't rush past it. You do not have to reinvent your entire life tonight. We're not asking you to do that. But you do need to honor the responsibility, the possibility that your current plan may not be your final plan.
That's right. This is why we created Beyond the Bling 3.0, because we teach the financial mechanics as well, not just the mindset. The program is not merely about money. It's also about freedom, right? Because going back to what Stephanie said, what is the feeling that you were trying to replicate? What is that feeling? And the feeling is freedom. It's not about being rich. It's about having options. Money is just the tool, right? It's just the tool. And that becomes possible when you understand your money well enough to give your life more options So it's for late bloomers just like ourselves. Everything that we learned to go from negative 22,000 over 1.1 million in net worth is in that and a lot more. And everything that we've learned since then. All right. So if some of you are ready to stop looking rich, right? If you're ready to stop with the bling bling, stop feeling ashamed of what you don't know and start building a life that reflects what you actually value. All right. That sounds like the next chapter for you. You need Beyond the Bling. It's in the link. It's in the description below. All right. Y'all still talking. So we want to make sure that we thank Big C for the scholarship money. And we've got one more from Gladiola. Thank you and have a great week. Thank you so much. You guys are too much. We thank you so much. And our community thanks you. This is how we do this thing, you guys. We do it together. All right. We're not going to leave anyone behind.
And if your situation feels too complicated for a course alone, hey, or you need help seeing the options that may be hidden inside your current situation, you can book a one-on-one strategy session with us.
That's right. That link is also in the description below,
yes,
right? And if you value this conversation, you know what you need to do and you want to support this work, please become a channel member. We meet every Sunday, right? Before we go live, an hour before we go live, and we chitty chat behind the scenes. And then, of course, our legends, our co-hosts with us every other Thursday. And we've got other perks as well. And so that's what we do. Could moving to Eastern Europe be a good second choice compared to Portugal or Spain? Perhaps. I have not studied the citizenship because French, Spanish, if you were the one who asked about passports, I have not studied the, I do know what the residency requirements are, and those are easy and similar, but I have not checked out their pathway to citizenship. So that's something that you would need to do. I know that Black women and Black people have been going to like Albania and Georgia and even Poland and having a good time. So, you know, every place is not for everybody, right? But there's some place for you. There is definitely some place for you, right? So all the super chat, thanks money. We thank you again. We thank you again. Before you leave,
finish this sentence in the chat. I am not too old to.
I'm not too old to learn. I'm not too old to invest, to learn to invest. I'm not too old to move. I'm not too old to build something. Finish the sentence. I'm not too old to change my mind. I'm not too old to fall in love with my life again. I'm not too old to begin again. What is the answer? Put it in the chat. All right. Because we read them all. We do.
Because your age is not a closing argument.
That's right. Your past is not a prison sentence.
And somebody else's projection is not a prophecy,
That's
as we
right.
said earlier.
Right. Here at Our Black Utopia, we do not wait for somebody else to imagine a better future for us. We learn, we grow, we build options, and we create our own Black utopias, no matter where we are in the world.
Because, folks, it's not a dream, it's the destination.
That's right, y'all. So we are going to see you on Thursday. Is Thursday the day?
Thursday the day.
You know, we've got the winter meetup coming up and we've got the summer meetup and we've got priority passes available. Priority pass is just a fancy word for deposit, y'all. If I have to explain, I'm losing. I know that. But we are going to have so much fun. So check it out. The winter meetup is going to be the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st, ending in a New Year's Eve party and mask. Okay. We're going to do some tile painting. We're going to visit a magical winter village. We're going to have fun. And in the summer, we're probably going to the islands off the coast of Peniche and doing some other fun stuff. We're going to have a cookout. We're going to play spades and dominoes and do all the things during Juneteenth week. So we will see you there.
This is our Black Utopia, rising in the light, freedom in our future.